end of Intermission, Part 2.
We're going to do a lightning round. I've always wanted to do this. I'm going to name either a company, a brand, or a type of a piece of equipment. You're going to tell me what you have right now. Okay? It's going to be a quick inventory. Gretsch.
Well, I have a 64 Country Gentleman. I have the 6120 with the Nashville, and I have and that's that's the same year as Lennon's. I think it's a 63. And I have the Tennessean, 64 Tennessean.
Epiphone.
I have 4 Epiphone Casinos.
Go on.
And Texans.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. And I have 2 Epiphone Texans.
Okay, so Framus.
I have 2 Framus. No, I have 3. I feel so stupid. I have 3 Framus guitars. One of them is what Paul has, which is
Camping King.
the Campus King, Camping King. They actually were called both. And I have 2 Hootenannies.
Rickenbacker. Start with guitars, then bass.
Okay. Start with guitars. I have 2 Rickenbacker 12 strings, like the Beatles had. I have the one that you have, the 360-12, I guess it is.
The C
other
series.
one is
Yeah.
C series, yeah. And then I have a really beautiful. Is it a 330, Paul? I think you just bought one.
Oh, what the
330.
fret?
The 330-12, right? That's a 330, isn't it?
Oh
smooth-
yeah. George's 360 12 string?
Yeah, I
No,
think it's
The
360.
second one.
The second one would be
rounded
the
horns.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
rounded
the
ones.
rounded off
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's just a little confusing because the 330s are typically the ones that aren't rounded off, but his initial one was a prototype, so right.
I didn't know that. See, that's when it's really cool to talk to you guys. So I have one of each of those 2 Rickenbackers, and I have 2 right now. One of them is going to be sold. I have 2 4000. I say 401 because it's easier. 4001 C64s, and the reason I have 2 is not because I'm greedy. It's because I bought one because they don't come up that often, right? I bought one, and it was really great. It plays really great, but I wasn't really crazy about the burst on it, to tell you the truth. I used it in my first couple of videos, the first Day Tripper video, and then one came up that had the burst I've always wanted. And I'm like, I could sell the other one. I'll get that one. And I did, and I'm so glad I did. I used it in the last video. It's a beautiful guitar, and it plays really well, and I'll sell the other one eventually. It's not a big deal.
Would you ever get one with the pepper or paint job?
I wouldn't do it myself. Would I ever get one? You never say never. I mean, when you make these videos, it comes in handy to have, it comes in handy to have the right guitars because it looks cool on the screen. I know that. Like when I did the last video, and you take this thing out, this monstrosity it's huge. Like the case is ridiculous, and you play that and you have that on the screen in a video, it really changes the whole thing of the video because you're like when Sam played the sitar Norwegian Wood in the collaboration I was involved with, that changed the game, man. What other video had that? No one had that. And you had the real Framus, you had Mike playing the J160, and Sam was nailing that sitar. That was like, oh my God, it was, and everybody saw it. Everybody felt it, And the same thing I felt with the tempura. I used to say tempura, but every time I hear an Indian person say it, they call it a tempura.
As my iPhone autocorrect said, shrimp tempura.
So
It's a delicious
Speaking
instrument.
of that,
Yeah.
I heard Chinese restaurants were giving $50 for a cat. $10 extra if you shave it beforehand. So,
What?
Sam, you might want to take him up on that offer.
I want his Rick 4001 C64.
Yeah, we have to continue the inventory. Perry, don't you have a 325 C64?
I have that, and I have the 58 as well, the 325 C58.
You have a
And I have-
C58 too?
Yeah, you want to see it?
Of
Yeah.
course.
The one you modded it though with a Bixby.
I did. That I did
Who doesn't
myself.
do that? Yeah.
That I did myself. Hold on, I gotta find it over here.
Guys, let's track his location and get in the car and go to his house right now. I think he's
I'm game.
vulnerable.
Let's do it. Let's do
He
it.
seems like he's in a good mood. Let's tie him up. Now's the time.
Really, all you gotta do is like get some guitar he doesn't have. Get a Duo Jet in a nice condition. Open it up in front of him, and then while he's looking at it, run out the back door. With
Maybe
other
that
stuff.
could be our next lightning round. Is we go around and say which instrument we would take from Perry.
Oh, hell yeah.
Double locks on his doors now. That priceless J160 leaning on the chair is making me a little nervous.
I mean, if he wants it to be authentic, he should set it up on a stage and let it fall over on its own.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if it's authentic, you're just gonna leave it on the floor.
It's the greatest
Les
basement
Paul fell
of
over.
mankind. Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh wow.
So what is that exact? What model is that?
This is the 325 C58.
I've got one of
first
those in
one
the
that I
back
had.
there. They're very weird. They're very weird guitars.
It's the exact replica of John's first 325.
Yeah.
And you can't get one now for less than $5,000.
They're not worth it.
How do you feel
didn't
about the bow tie bridge? I've always heard people say how it doesn't technically fit because of the pick guard, so the low E almost goes off the edge of the fretboard. Does it play okay though?
So mine is okay. You know, it goes where you want it to go. You have to edge it yourself, right? I was worried about it and getting the parts and all that. The thing I was most nervous about was putting in the bridge and drilling the holes. So I was really, really careful and sweating the whole time. But it came out great. And I just think it's a beautiful guitar. They're kind of weird guitars, like you said. I totally agree. They play weird, but they have a cool kick-ass sound for their own kind of thing, right? And I look ridiculous with it because I'm a big guy. I mean, I'm like the Green Giant holding this tiny little thing. It could be a meme. It's so bad.
You're like 6'3",
But I have it.
right?
Yeah.
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 Wow.
What's really cool about those ones, not only are they, I believe they're hollow, right?
Yeah.
Chambered, yeah.
But I just
They are.
love the fact on how small they are. You can do all these crazy stretches that you couldn't do on, say, like a Strat,
Absolutely.
right?
Hold me
You can
tight.
fly around on it. Yeah.
So I have a Gibson Birdland, a 1956 Gibson Birdland.
Those are huge.
And the guitar was invented for jazz guitars so they could do those spreads. And then the neck is kind of shrunken in so the frets are close to each other and everything. It's a beautiful guitar. It was my uncle's guitar. And I did a video on that. It was one of my first videos, but Beatle people really aren't interested in that too much. But it's a cool guitar. You can get that rockabilly sound with it, and I demonstrated with that. And I actually recorded with it one of my original songs that I did put on the site, and did the solo with it just through the twin, and it was amazing because the pickup. It's weird because they came with these weird Alnico 5 pickups, the black ones, and the one he bought it used in '61 because they were the top of the line, really expensive, and somebody had modified it because they changed the pickups in '57 to humbuckers, right? And somebody dropped the humbucker in the top. And so when my uncle got it, it was literally modified. It was a 56 guitar. He bought it in '61 and it was modified. And so the cool thing is that humbucker sounds amazing.
That's a real
because
PAF, right?
That's a real PAF that everybody would want, right? And it just kills. It's amazing.
You
So
should
I,
do the Eric Clapton Bangladesh solo with that thing.
that's right. He played the Birdland, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had mine's a burst one. He had I think it was a all
Natural.
natural,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
That's cool though. I didn't know you had that.
yeah. If you have that picture of all the guitars, Michael, that you took from Facebook, it's in there. The
Yeah, Ryan's
Birdland's
got
in
it.
there.
Yeah. That's a good transition to the next piece of the inventory, Gibson. What you got?
Wow. I have a '71 Gibson Les Paul Custom. I have another Gibson Les Paul that has the push-pull thing. that looks like Lucy. I don't remember what the model is, but they came out with these ones that were cheaper, but you had zebra pickups in it. Like, Paul put the tops on it, which I want to kind of do too. I haven't done that. But it really is a beautiful guitar, and it plays really well. And I like Les Pauls too, so that was cool.
Which kind of custom is the 71? Is it like the 3 pickup one, or which one is it?
No, it's just a Les Paul Black Beauty custom.
Is that with the staple pickup?
Regular humbucker, gold covered humbuckers.
I don't know how you differentiate. Does anyone know how the thing I'm talking about, the staple pickup with the P90?
Yeah, that's the 50s Les Paul custom. I mean, they're all Les Paul customs, but they all had different configurations. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Sam, you know more about that stuff than I do. I just play. I get the ones I want and I play. So I have that. I have a lot of. I prefer Gibson acoustics. I have a Martin, and for Beatles stuff, the Martin is amazing. Blackbird, Mother Nature's Son, sounds perfect on the Martin. But I really love the guitar I record a lot with is my J200 from 2000. Just gorgeous. If you check out the video where I do the acoustic things, I use that, and it just sounds beautiful. It's just really a gorgeous sounding guitar. Records really well. Just has so much beauty to it. It's, the beautiful highs, kind of crystal clear. And I have a couple of Martins. I have a Alcoa Martin too, a D25K2 from 1980. I have to look at the pictures here because it's just easier if I could see here. So let me just look here. So I have another Martin. I have a D15, the all brown mahogany guitar. I don't know. I just really think they're cool. They're great for blues. They have a snarl to them that's really cool. Because I play finger picking blues. I play a lot of bottleneck slide too. I have another Gibson. Well, I have the 68 that you saw, the J200. I have a Gibson bass. I have an EB2D, which is kind of like a casino bass with 2 pickups. I have that in like a cherry sunburst. And there are reasons.
J160s too, right?
I have 2. I have the 64. Yeah, I should have said that. Obviously, duh. I have the 62, which is the holy grail for me and probably for you. And I have a 64 that you saw also that somebody had stripped. And so it's cool because I'm going to keep the stripped one with the pickup in the treble position so that I have both. I have the bass position and the treble. And then for videos, if I'm doing the White Album and I want to, maybe do Cry Baby Cry with the stripped version,
Do you have the Gibson SG?
He does.
I do. It's called the SG Original from 2013, and it's beautiful. It looks just like a vintage one, and I played out with it a lot. I did a lot of gigging with it, and what I loved about it, A, it's light, and then B, it just has such a reach up at the top. You're not trying at all because there's nothing in the way. And the Les Paul, it's a little harder, and the Casino, forget about it, But the SG is like you can get right up there. I used to do the end solo to Let's Go Crazy by Prince, and it's way up there, and I think it's an F sharp, and it was just so cool to be able to do that. And that guitar sounds amazing through a Vox AC30.
And you've got 2 Hofners right now?
I do. I have the reissue and I have the 63. Yeah, and then I also have the Hofner lap steel too.
Lap steel
so
too.
3.
All right, keyboards.
Oh, hell, you didn't say Fender yet.
Oh shit, Fender.
Okay, so Fender.
I'm really curious about this because I saw some interesting ones that aren't Beatles guitars.
Yeah, so I have the 61 custom shop Sonic Blue Strat that I bought from Andy Babiuk's shop.
It's the one that
I have.
I think. Yeah.
Probably. This is American made, and then I have the Rocky Strat, but not the $25,000 one. I don't want to pay $25,000 for a new guitar. I don't want to pay 25 grand at all, to tell you the truth. But I got one of those artist versions. I think they're made in Mexico. Really cool. So I have the Rocky thing. It plays really well. Sounds great. No problem with that. I have a Fender Walnut called The Strat. And it's one of the Dan Smith guitars.
Those are like the 1980s ones. Those are cool.
They rebranded.
Yeah, it's a 1982, and it was my high school graduation gift. Everybody else wanted cars. I just wanted a great guitar, So my parents were like thrilled. They're like, "Oh, okay." It was still a lot of money. It was $1,300 back then in 1982. It's a lot of money, but I've had it all these years, and I've restored it several times because it actually used electroplated gold on it, and the gold wears off. So I've replaced the bridge with a new old stock bridge and things like that. When I was younger, I didn't have the money to get a Les Paul, so I had that guitar routed out for a humbucker. And I didn't realize I had gotten forget the brand, but it turned out to be the same humbucker that Eddie Van Halen was using. And so when I was playing in a band, I was able to do all those harmonics and dive bombs and everything on my regular Strat because I put in this amazing pickup. And so that I restored it back to its original because I just wanted, now I have the money for, those kind of guitars too. I have one shredder guitar. It's my Kramer.
Beretta.
It's a red Kramer. It's a cheap guitar. It's $600, I think. But it can do all that stuff. I just needed one so I could shred and play Van Halen and do jump and stuff like that. And
you have like solos. A Fiesta Red Jazzmaster and Jaguar too, right?
I have a 64 Jaguar, a real 64 Jaguar. And I have a reissue Jazzmaster that's beautiful. It's as well made as any vintage guitar. They just did such a great job on it. Plays beautiful, looks beautiful. I just think it's a work of art. And I paid $2,000 for it used. And it's just beautiful. I think the Jazzmaster is a really interesting guitar. I haven't really used it yet for any of my music. I wrote some stuff on it, but I haven't actually performed with it yet.
I've got one too. They sound amazing through an AC30. They get brighter than any Gretsch guitar would. Yeah,
I played it through the Showman, and it sounded wonderful through the Fender Showman. Oh, I have a Fender Showman amp as well, 1965 Showman.
We'll get to amps in a second.
Okay.
What's the story? Why did you buy the Jazzmaster and the Jaguar? I was just curious. Because there obviously aren't Beatle guitars.
No. Well, not every guitar I have is a Beatle guitar. I do have this other life where I play other music. I just happen to be influenced by the Beatles.
That's not allowed if you're a Beatles fan.
Well, tough. It's
a life? Who has a life? What?
How's that?
We were on
He's
Gibson's,
tell us
right?
he has a family next.
I do. I don't think there are any more Gibsons.
Oh, you have the Fender
Fenders.
Esquire too.
Oh, I have the Fenders now. So I have that Esquire that you saw. I also have the George Harrison tribute from 2017. The
Rosewood
Telecaster.
The Rosewood Telecaster. Man, that's a cool guitar. I'm not even a Tele guy, but I love that guitar. The action on it, the neck is a C neck, which I love. I'm a C neck guy, and 60 C neck, really great action. I played in a band for about a year using just that guitar alone, and it was awesome. It was a country band, but it was a hard rock country band, like we were wailing, and it was so good. Really great guitar. They're really expensive now. I was paying a lot of money when I first bought it because it came out. They only made like 100 of them or something like that at first. And I got it for $3,000. And I was like, what am I, crazy? But I bet you it's going to go up. Now they're like $6,000. Mm-hmm. $4,000 to $6,000. So
I've never heard a bad word about them. Everyone that has them has never said anything bad about them.
They're chambered. They're not as heavy as the original was.
Really?
Yeah. And so they're really comfortable to play. And they have the reissue 64 pickups in. I don't know why they did 64, but that's what are in them. And they sound great. They just play great, sound great, really great guitar. I'm really happy with it and would never sell it. Not unless I've gotten, couldn't play anymore or something like that.
Wise decision.
So you don't have any no Blackguard tellies before we move on?
No, I only have those two Tele-ish kind of things because I never really gravitated towards Telecasters. I mean, I love Led Zeppelin. I can play Led Zeppelin. Grew up on that, but I'm more of a Strat Les Paul kind of guy.
As a Springsteen fan, I'm a bit offended, but carry on. I'm sorry.
So that's a funny thing you mentioned Springsteen, because I was never really, when Springsteen first came out, never really into him. And then I got into him. I started to like mature. And
as someone who lives in New Jersey does, yeah.
Well, yeah. In my high school, it was weird. You either like the Grateful Dead or Springsteen. And the Springsteen people weren't as nice as the Deadheads. So I hung out with the pot-driven, derelicts, and I was more akin to them. And then I went to college and I got out of that whole scene. I was never a Deadhead. I know you play a lot of Grateful Dead. I saw some of your stuff. It's really cool.
And Springsteen, yeah.
I saw Springsteen in second row. I got really lucky. I'm not even a fan. I think I owned one. I owned The River. I bought that album back in the day. That was it. I liked Springsteen, and when he got really big in '84, I liked him even more. But I got lucky because somebody was in the Springsteen fan club, called me up and said, "Perry, you have a car?" I said, "Yeah." "You want to go see Springsteen for $20?" And I'm like, "Okay." And it was a special show, like a 3-hour show that he does for his fans to warm up for the actual concert.
Oh, yeah.
And I go in there, and I waited 2 hours online in the hot sun where they were selling bottles of water for like $10. But it was worth it because I paid $20 to get in, and I walked all the way up to the stage, and I was literally like in second row. Clarence, they're all right in front of me, and it was magical.
That's like Born in the USA tour, like '85 or something like that.
No, it wasn't. It was after that. It wasn't in their heyday. It must have been the '90s because I was living in Hoboken. It wasn't the '80s. But it was still cool. I was like second row.
Really
Standing room only, whatever you get in first, you just go to where you want to go. And
it's a little more expensive nowadays to see him. But
I wouldn't know. I didn't have to do that anymore. I already saw him. Amplifiers. You want to do amps?
Keyboards.
Okay.
Start with keyboards.
So
I have to get through this fucking list. I'm just so interested in this.
Okay, hold on. Let me do this for you.
Michael's making an inventory for
taking notes,
when we
Mike?
kidnap you.
These are the notes, by the way.
Like the hours
these are,
you won't be home would be very helpful.
These are the notes, by the way, that for my drumming on Loosing the Sky with Diamonds. So I actually did try to do exactly the same drums. I probably got 95% of it. I didn't do everything. But this is a Phantom keyboard, and it's like a workstation kind of keyboard. I just recently got that. I was working on an ASR 10, which I have up here.
Oh my gosh, that shelf of keyboards.
Yeah.
That's a nice
It like never
keyboard.
ends.
And I had worked for years on this and did a lot of sequencing and writing on that. It's really old school because it uses CD and floppy. I have a digital Mellotron, which is really cool because you don't have to deal with the tapes, and they're the exact same tapes. So when you actually put Strawberry Fields Forever, and you choose the right one, because there are all sorts of Mellotron models in here, you literally will breathe and be the exact tape that you hear on the tape. I couldn't believe it. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, it's the same exact thing that they were using.
Now, that one doesn't have the rhythms and fills, right?
Yeah, it has all that stuff.
Oh, it does?
You could buy all that stuff, yeah. There's these little cards that you insert in the back, and you can expand the library.
But the keyboard's not big enough to do both the rhythms and fills and the...
This is the size of the Mellotron keyboard. It wasn't bigger than this.
But it was two halves, right? That was the right half,
Yes,
which was lead
right.
sounds. I'm talking about the
Yes.
left side.
So so the ones that the Beatles had, right? They had the two keyboards just like that with the thing in the middle. But this is the 400, and it does all the different models. So you can get any sound and put it wherever you want on the keyboard.
Can we hear a demo, not now, but in a future video of Strawberry Fields? Because I've yet to hear a VST nail that perfectly.
You haven't heard me do it?
I want to talk to you about Strawberry Fields, but we'll do that another time.
I have a thing I got to send you because I was trying to do the pitch correction on the little flute stuff at the end because I've recreated some of that. I need to send it to you because I sent it to the rest of them.
This is a Nord Stage 2. I bought used. It was basically brand new when I got it. I got a good price for it. That's a great piano. When I want different sounds for writing music, it's got a lot of great sounds. I still use the ASR-10 from the 90s. That also has a great library. This is a vocoder keyboard up here that Behringer makes. And then instead of getting the real thing, I got the Poly D because it really can do what a Mini D does. It really does. And then this is another Behringer version of the Mini D. I had that because I was recording with my cousin in Texas, and I took this over to his house in a backpack. It was so cool to be able to do that. This is the Pianet Mark I, like the C Pianet, and you saw that in a video. I've got a theater organ back there behind all those guitars. And then, of course, voila, the DSO-1 that the Beatles used.
Not your only Lowry, though, right?
No, that is my only. Oh, that's true. You got me there. Okay. So the other one is at my other house, my mom's house. I put it there because the other one doesn't really work. It needs work, and I'm using it for parts anyhow. And it came with. I bought it for $300, believe it or not, and it came with extra tubes. The tubes alone were like worth $300. So all I had to do was drive to Maryland, like a 4-hour drive, 4.5-hour drive, and we did that, and it was worth it.
So for the folks who are watching, that was used on the intro of Lucy in the Sky.
Yeah.
Were there any other songs you guys can think of where it was used?
I can play that right now if you want. I could show
Oh
you.
yeah, let's do it.
Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
I gotta wait for it. I just turned it on. I gotta wait for it to kind of warms up, right? Get the chair out of the way.
It was sad to see the Pianet all folded up like that. I want to see it, out and ready to play.
So the pedal on this thing goes up by itself. It doesn't stay down. So what I did when I recorded, I took a measuring tape and I put it on the pedal. And that was how I got the volume to stay where it was.
It's cool.
Sounds
And the
just like
bottom
it.
The bottom is the organ. Oops. So he was able to do it all at the same time because he had a program on the bottom for the organ, and the top was the arpeggio sound that he got.
Are we ready for amplifiers? Moving on. I have only 2 more categories, so this will end soon, unless more gear arrives, obviously, like tonight.
I'm having fun. It's fine.
Oh my gosh, the desktop background.
I got to get you guys back on now. There we go. Amplifiers. So Paul and I have some things in common. Paul's got the Conqueror. I'll show you that. Should turn around again. So I have a Conqueror right here. It's a beautiful Conqueror. All the iron is original, but the outside was retolexed, and obviously the grill was too, redone. But it plays really well, sounds really great, and it's a beautiful looking amp. This one is being covered by a 64 AC30. I also have a 63 AC30 with the brass vents. You can see them right here. And the top boost is in the back of this. The reason why I have 2, the 63 has the blues in them, the blue speakers, and the 64 has the top boost on top, which is much more convenient, and it has the silvers also. So the Beatles had the silvers for sure, because I've seen pictures of them with the silvers in the back, and I just wanted to have the convenience of putting it at the top. I actually got a real good deal on that one, the 63. I paid $2,000 for it, and all I had to do was restore it a little bit. I put the vents in it, which were not original, but they were reproductions. You can see the top boost in the back, and it's candy apple red. And I put a new grill on it. The grill, if you look in the videos, you'll see it, but the grill's brand new. I also have a
a Vox AC30 hardwire, which was one of the last made in England by Korg. And it's that's the amp I actually gig. When I go out and gig, I use that. Fender Twin, 1967.
Is that a black or a silver Fender Twin?
No, it's a black face.
Wow, that's a late black one.
Yeah, 67 black face. Yep. I've got I like the 120, but I didn't get the 120. I got the smaller version. I don't remember what actually it is, but it's that 80s sound I can get out of the Roland jazz chorus amp. This is like when I need a Marshall. I just have a little Marshall to get the Marshall sound. And then this thing is killer. This thing rips.
Is that the Brian May one?
Yeah, and it's so good. It's like only like 200 and change, and you can still get them. They don't make them anymore, but it's really great for recording if you're going to be doing something really heavy. And if you want to do like Van Halen-y kind of sounds, it's really awesome. It's a great recording thing. Of course, if you want the Brian May sound. This is a bass amp I have from 1974. There are reasons why I have like quirky things like that, because my cousin and I used certain equipment when we were teenagers recording. This one here is the OSO that I used in Lucy, and beneath it is an actual UL 715 cab. And there's my Fender Showman, 65 Showman. It's a beautiful with the 115, I guess it is. That's in there. I think it's a 15.
Yep.
I'd love to hear your SG through that for some Revolver stuff sometime.
Well, okay. If I ever do Revolver, then I'll call you up and maybe we'll do a thing together, because I really don't know a whole lot about what equipment was used other than the ULs and
Showman's, Bassman, and a lot of Voxes. Yeah.
Well, I know
we're
the
just sort of
Bassman
up in the air on what's the Fender stuff and what's the Voxes. So it's kind of. I bet we.
Yeah, I mean,
figure
in the
out
picture
something.
you can see the Fender. You can see the Fender Showman in the pictures that are taken. So I know that was on Revolver, and then the UL 7120s.
7120.
Yeah, which I don't know whether anybody other than Steve Walsh has ever had one. Because
I mean,
they're
it's
really
a miracle
rare.
that you even have the 730, because there's only like 24 of those in existence now, right?
Yeah, so that was a cool kind of story. Again, when you see something, you have to make a quick decision. How much do I really want that? How much am I willing to pay for it? And what am I going to go through to get it? Like I got this organ because I drove 8 hours. I paid $1,500. That's nothing for something that I really wanted that bad. And driving 8 hours was totally worth it when I got it back home, turned it on and it worked, So sometimes it's worth it. I don't know. What's the instrument we were talking about?
So
730.
Oh, go ahead.
I get
sorry.
flighty sometimes at night. So the UL 730 came from France. And some dude who, you wonder whether people are trustworthy too. Like, am I going to give him all this money? And so he had on YouTube already made demonstrations of the amp, like him playing the amp. He put a loop on it, and then he changed while the loop was going. He was changing the sounds of it and showing that everything worked. And I was like, wow, this is cool. And so I checked his feedback and everything, and he spoke English, or wrote English anyway. And I could afford it, and I think I paid 11 grand, which is a lot of money. However,
But you're never going to see another one of those for that price.
right, and there's another guy who's like asking 16 or more
Yeah.
for just the head on Reverb right now. I know him because I did business with him once. But so again, I thought, okay, you can buy a vintage guitar for 11 grand. You can buy a J160 that's $26,000. This is rarer than that. And I could make a pretty good video, because not anybody else can be able to challenge it or do anything because they don't have it, And I sold my Dr. Robert before I got it. I sold it before I got it because I had gotten the OSO, which is a 15-watt version of the UL. And Stephen Walsh in England made these amps, and he actually did a 730 copy too. He's so good. Like the amp is really good, and he's even got like one of the settings is called She Said, She Said. So what he did was he's got it so that it's variable distortion. The real amp doesn't have that. You push the button and that's the distortion you get. He allows it to go less distortion and stuff. And if you want it just like the amp, you turn it to She Said, She Said. So it's really
Perry,
cool.
You sold
really
the
cool
Dr.
amp.
Robert? I thought you used the Dr. Robert on that video you made on the Revolver sounds.
And after I did it, I sold it.
Oh, gotcha. So you did briefly
Yeah.
use it. Okay.
I had it. I did a review on it and did that, black and white thing that I did.
Right.
And I think it's a cool pedal. I really do. I think, if you don't, there's no other way to get the sound, either have the amp or have that. And it works really well. It gives you that really kind of cool transistor sound. The thing that's kind of interesting is I don't know, when I was trying to do Paperback Writer, a lot of it wasn't the distortion. It was pushing the clean channel. So I don't know how that kind of ties in with the Dr. Robert, pushing like you would push a regular amp, but it definitely gets the sound one way or the
Clay
other.
still thinks that Paperback Writer is the bassman, the blonde bassman. Have you ever tried that?
I did a video with me playing.
Oh, that's right, you did.
The casino with the bassman. Sounded great. Sounded really great. The thing I noticed though, when I actually went back after I got this, and I said this in the UL 730 video, was that when you play that bottom G on the 3rd fret, the first note of the riff, right? You really can hear the difference between the bassman and the UL. And there's this transistory something that's there that isn't in the bassman. And I've got tongue soles in the bassman. That bassman rocks, man. You can get really good power chords. You can do AC, DC with that bassman if you push it beyond 7. And there's just something about it. It's definitely the UL. I think it was definitely the 120, the UL 120, 7120.
One of my favorite videos of yours that you did recently was all the percussion instruments that the Beatles played, and you actually have like some of the old like Ludwig bongos like Ringo played, and they're more rare than I realized, which is why your video was so cool.
Yeah, thank you. Those congas, which you're going to see in another video coming up soon.
The ones right behind you, is that right?
Yeah, the striped ones. They're real. I've been looking for them my whole life. I really had been. I've been looking for them forever. And one night at about 3:00 in the morning, I'm on Reverb doing what I do, and oh my God, could that be? Oh my God, those are the congas. What the hell? And they were like $300. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? They're 300, and they were in Holland. And I bought them right away. I said yeah, click. Didn't even ask questions. And then the weirdest, coolest thing happened. The guy was really cool, great drum shop in the Netherlands. And then like 2 weeks later, he puts the stand that looks just like the right stand that Ringo had of the congas up on the thing. And again, really reasonable price. So I emailed the guy, I said, is this the stand that goes with the congas? And he's like, well, I don't know, but I said, could you measure it? And he measured it and everything else. And I didn't know whether it would fit, but I said, you know what? For like $150 or whatever he was charging, I'm going to take the chance. And it turned out it's the stand for the congas. It fits perfectly. And so I just, again, you take these little risks, and I haven't tuned them, but I'm afraid to, because they're animal skin, and I'm afraid of ripping them, because once you do, how are you going to replace it, right? So they sound great. I just leave them like that. If I want to tune them higher or lower, I use a pitch shifter. It's just easier, and you're protecting the instrument. The bongos you saw on the one episode I was on, they're really cool. And the tambourines, I've got 3 of those now, more than I need. I only wanted the yellow one, but I didn't think I was going to actually find one, and I found the others. And so it was actually cool to have the right color and finally find the right color. And then I bought a couple of other tambourines that are similar. And I know, no one really cares about the tambourines for the most part, but actually put some really good, I think some of the recreations I did in that video are better than some of the other videos I've done. And no one's going to watch it because they think it's just going to be about tambourines. And, it's a shame because I think what I did on Getting Better was really good. And I think what I did on And I Love Her was fantastic because I'm using those bongos and they have a certain sound. And I was using a 62. But no one's going to see it, or maybe eventually they will. But right now, it's just done okay,
Yeah, I think it was fantastic to see the Lucy video you made because it was a full cover. I think if anything, as a fan of yours and your channel, I would love to see more of that. You have all the gear. Why not demonstrate it fully in the context of a full song? But
And
I
you
get
can
we all
play
have
so
our own
well.
niche too. And you play it so well, yeah.
Thank you. I mean, but there's Michael Sokol out there who does full covers. And there's Sam, who occasionally does full covers and covers the guitars of the songs from back to back.
Those guys are assholes. Don't watch their stuff. Yeah, they're terrible.
The thing I love to do is, if you couldn't tell, I love to talk gear. That's what I do. Obviously I'm a player. I love to play. I could talk all about that. When Sam and I talk a little bit, I feel kind of a kinship because he's a guitar player and I totally get, his thinking and stuff like that. You too, Michael. And, just because I've gotten to know him more than you, Dom, but, and same thing, Ryan. Michael really kind of put me in the position I'm in because no one knew who I was until there was Michael Sokol said, hey, this guy lent me his stuff. And then I did the interview with him and suddenly people started to pay a little bit more attention to me and say, hey, this guy can play too. I remember, Michael, when I first told you, because he didn't know me yet, he had come to my house and he was going to borrow this gear. And I told him in the interview, I said, we do the same thing. I play multi-instrument. And I could see in his look, he was like, oh, okay. Because no one believes you what you can do until you show them. No one will believe you until you say, oh yeah, this is what I can do. And hopefully now I'm starting to show people that I can play. That's my greatest fear. I don't want to be like one of those people, well, he's this dude that's got all this gear and it stops there. No, I play. That's what I really do. I want to earn the right to have these things. This shit should be with me because I appreciate it and I play it. And that's the way I feel very strongly about that.
And you're making original music with it too.
Yeah, I do.
Which is cool.
I do, yeah. I actually, when we're done with the video, I actually want to talk about Strawberry Fields Forever. I'd like to do a supergroup thing with Strawberry Fields Forever. And I'd like to head it and I'd like to mix it. And we could record it. And I think it would be cool if everybody, you don't have to be here all at the same time, but if everybody did their parts in the same studio, because I think it would be something if people are watching and like all these people that they know are in the same place recording, I think that would be awesome if we all could somehow, grab a part or two and get in. I'm talking to everybody here. If we could all I know that, Paul's in Rhode Island. It's a long trip. And where are you, in Chicago?
Yeah.
Dom?
Yeah.
So Dom,
Dom's
100%.
gonna be
Flights are
around
cheap.
in August.
yeah, I would love that. I would love if we could all record something here and because you know what? There's enough expertise right here to say, yeah, Perry, that part doesn't sound quite right. Can you do this? Or, and I trust your ears because you guys know more than I do about a lot of this stuff. I know a lot of stuff too, but when you combine all of our knowledge together, Paul with his strings and the amps and everything else, I don't go into that kind of minutia very often, but it's really fascinating to be around people. If I had talked to Sam before I did Lucy, I would have gotten the whole thing right because he would have pointed out, take one, he says, direct injection. And I had heard that before we had the conversation, but it didn't click,
I'm just a troll. I just like to push your buttons.
No, it didn't push my button. It made me go, fuck, I could have done it and I would have had a perfect rendition. So I'm going to rectify that when I do the next video. I'll just demonstrate it and show that I should have done that. It's okay. It's not a big deal. You learn, right? But it's the fact that Sam was pointing something out as one of the many Beatle experts that you guys are. Dom, when I did the Framus part in Norwegian Wood with Michael and with Sam, I was doing mostly what you did.
I sent Perry your video, Dom, to study.
Yeah, he really did. And I only changed.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I only changed one thing. I had an open string instead of a closed string that you played for one part. The dun dun dun. I kept it open to make it ring out more. That was it, man. You nailed it. And so, you're playing along with me, really. You were definitely. I looked at the video, and so you're there in spirit, totally.
Yeah, Perry, that Strawberry Fields collaboration has been percolating amongst this group as an idea already.
Yeah,
So
there's certain things that are really tricky with Strawberry Fields because of I realized that they're using the original Mellotron had this motor control which you would
Slap
speed
back.
up, right? And none of the emulators really have that because it was more of a mechanical thing, but they were using it, and so that's how you had that weird like slide sound, like and they go into the chorus.
Yeah,
that's George hitting the. I believe he has, with the way the tape banks are set up, you could play two sounds at once if they're right next to each other, and he has the flutes and the electric guitar sound playing together, and he's pressing the key and turning the knob, which you can't emulate because
you have to overdub it. You have to do each instrument separately. Yeah. You do have the bend pitch on the digital one.
No, but bend pitch doesn't mean the same thing because it's going to stretch the tape wrong. Because if you bend pitch on a real tape, it'll actually slow the playing. If you bend pitch on a emulated thing, it literally just bends the pitch. So if you have artifacts, this becomes an issue because the rhythms and fills are melodic, and so you can't just change the pitch.
I will find a way. Trust Uncle Perry. Trust Uncle Perry. So no. It's okay to question me completely. Ryan, you take a 1/4-inch tape, you record it on there, and
you could do that.
I have a 1/4-inch tape recorder.
Okay, I've never worked with tape. That sounds amazing.
So I worked with 24-track 2-inch tape in my younger days in the 80s. So I've been recording since I was 15. I literally have been in studio since I was 15.
Yeah. I have to add,
if you want to do it that way, that would work perfectly. Because I've never worked with tape ever.
Yeah. When I was over at Perry's, he was giving some fantastic playing tips to me too. There was a part in Help when the acoustic guitar kind of breaks down a bit when it gets quieter, and I was playing it kind of a bit differently. And Perry said, actually let the high E and B strings ring out when you do that, and it sounds 1,000% better. So yeah, Perry's a great producer too.
Good ear.
Thanks.
I think we need to source a Swarmandal for the Strawberry Fields.
No, we don't, because the Swarmandella.
You have one? Get out.
Yeah. If you look at the Lucy video at the end, I'd have a very untuned version of it. I didn't go all the way because to tune the damn thing, it uses this ratchet and just a little bit goes all the way. So it's really hard to tune. But basically, I looked it up and I did some research on it. It's all it really is an auto harp, an Indian auto harp. It's the same damn thing. It's a box. They just don't have those keys on it with the thing. So I bought one off of Craigslist to check it out. And you watch the end of the Lucy video. I did it, and it was supposed to be like a little taunt, a little hint.
I've had 2 cello players on hold for a Strawberry Fields video because I want to do it for real if I'm going to do it ever. So I don't want to do emulated cello. I want to have a real cello players, but we would need trumpets too.
I could get a trumpet or two, but there you go. That would be even better. We could double track your trumpeting.
Let's do this shit right now, guys. Get your gear. It's happening.
So the strings, if you can't get the cellos and stuff, Abbey Road now has this incredible VST where and they do all the slopey stuff. They do everything, and it's recorded with the same equipment in Abbey Road. So that's the alternative. But if you can get the real cello player, dude, I'm totally with you. I mean, that's part of it, But I think that if we all did something together on that and just said, and you could post it on everybody's, thing.
I want to make like an hour-long video explaining how it was recorded because it is like a mess to rip that thing apart because everything was recorded at a different speed and a different key. And
there was a whole
bunch of backwards stuff. Yeah. There's like 25 minutes of backwards cymbals that got chopped up into pieces and thrown places.
Well, you're not going to get everything. You're just going to be able to get really, really close.
Is that a dare?
No, it's not a dare. It's just the reality of it, because we're not, using the same tape machines and everything else. So we have to get as close as you can. But, there are some things that are easier these days. Making backward cymbals is nothing, because the computer can do that in a second. So
it's not there's some about the mechanical ability to do it,
and some things. Yeah, I'm just saying that to do some of the operations that would have been horrendous, flipping the tape over and all that stuff. Years ago. Now it's cake. It's just that
I'm mainly just talking about actually understanding how it was recorded so that we can recreate it the same way. And I don't think anyone's fully broken it down yet.
No, but we could be the first one, and you have the interest in
definitely.
that, and so that's what you would lead on, and if you'd be willing to come up here too, it'd be awesome. I would love to see you get on a plane, Dom, and come here. And we don't have to be here at the same time. It would be great if we could spend a weekend here and I could put all you guys up, and I would be willing to do that. But if we just look like we're in the same room because we record it in the same room, it would be amazing. It would be amazing. And let me mix it, because I'm good at that. That's my shit. I know how to do that. And we could, and everybody could say, Perry, I like that mix. Perry, I don't like that mix. Can we bring the bass up? You could do all that, just like Mike did with us when we did Norwegian Wood. He asked, what do you guys think? And we all gave our little thing. And Mike,
you said it was terrible, which it was.
No, I just said
first mix.
I think Sam and I both said pull down the reverb. And that was about it.
I compressed the hell out of the acoustic too. Yeah. You guys were very smart thank you.
This actually sounds like a great idea. We're talking about behind the scenes. We're trying to figure out how we can get on a panel or something for the next Beatles Fest next year. If we could get this done by then, that'd be a great thing to just present a breakdown of Strawberry Fields.
That'd be awesome.
Well, the basic, I can do the basic Mellotron part because I've got that here, and that's easy. It's all the other stuff that you're talking about, Ryan, all the little intricate things that fuck it up and make it, special, that we would have to work on. I envision it this way. I envision that, Mike, you do the drums. I just think that you'd be great on the drums. When I saw you do A Day in the Life, I'm a good drummer. I could play drums, but man, you just know how to nail the damn sounds on the skins. And A Day in the Life blew me away. I'm like, fuck, he's got it, I think you're the perfect guy for the drums on that. Sam, I'm a guitar player, but I'd give you the guitar. I'd have no problem.
Yeah, could use your. Well, Dom did the casino part. Yeah,
Dom.
We should use your 65 casino because it's John on casino, right?
I don't know who's playing what, but that's what we all have to decide. And then I don't know what the other instruments are, but we'd have to get Dom in on it. We'd have to get you in on it, Ryan. And if Paul was willing to come down from Rhode Island, get him in on it too. Everybody should appear in it. Everybody should be doing something in it and playing something in it. And there's percussion, there's everything. And, I'm sure we could figure it out. I think I'd like to definitely play the bass and the Mellotron, and that's it. Anything else, I think Sam would be great on guitar. Put Mike on drums. You know all the other instruments, guys. So you just say, hey, I'll play this, I'll play that. I'll do all the percussion. I've got literally some of the real percussion too. The tambourine has a sound. It's weird. I'm thinking Eye on the Walrus maybe, but
well, Perry, you brought up percussion. I have to finish this list.
Oh no!
I've been waiting to do this. Drums. You do also have some incredible drums.
Yeah. You just want the Beatles Gear or the non-Beatles Gear too?
Stick to the Beatles, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so I have the two basic kits. I have the 64 Ludwig Super Classic in Oyster Black Pearl, properly said. They say that way, right?
Is that how you say it?
They're supposed to, yeah. When you say Black Oyster Pearl, there's some people who get really uppity about it. It's Oyster Black Pearl. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
These guys are all virgins.
Shut up. Yeah. It's like when I was talking about the settings on the organ, there's the idea. Some people say the registration, because organ people don't call it settings. They call it registration. I don't know why, but fuck that. I'm calling it settings. That's what it is. It's the settings on a goddamn organ. Registration. Give me a break. Anyway, I just don't, look, I'm a player. I don't tell me about this shit. I can make it sound good. That's all that fucking matters. Nothing else matters. That's the truth. So I have that after my tirade, and I have Ringo's was a 67 Hollywood kit in thermogloss. Mine is a 1970 Hollywood kit in thermogloss. Exact
For
same
the listeners,
sizes.
that's the maple kit, the yellow-looking one that was used on
The rooftop
Get
kit.
Back, the rooftop
Yeah.
on Abbey Road.
Yeah. So all the same exact sizes, the exact same finish, the thermogloss. And that was another one that was like, oh my God, I've been looking for this kit. And you can find thermogloss, but to find the right drum sizes is ridiculous. There'll be an 18-inch kick instead of the 22 or something like that. And one day it came up and it wasn't very expensive. The guy was like, yeah, it's a drum kit, sold it. It was just literally maybe top $600 or something, like ridiculous. And what do? You grab it as soon as you see it because you will never see it again if you don't. That's what I did. So I never looked back. I loved it. So the only thing I had to add to it was the double tom stand. And I did try playing it that way. I hated it. I like playing the toms a little closer. And Ringo did too, because he also moved them back on the kit as well during the White Album. And then he mixed the sets, which was weird. So I have a real 63 snare as well in Black Oyster
This
Pearl.
list just keeps going and going. It's incredible.
But it's not Ringo spec in that it doesn't have the red damper. It has the round one, but the size is the same. It's the 5 by 5 by 14. Yeah, it's the right size, and it's pre-serial just like Ringo's. And then I have another Ringo snare that is like a recreation of his snare, but it's not the one that costs like 13 grand or 20, whatever it is. It's the one that costs like $500 to $800. But it's the right size. It's the recreation of the what do you call it? The wrap, and it has the red inside it and all that stuff. And that sounds really good too. Now I use mostly the other one because it came with the kit. But
and the drum head that you have on the Black Oyster Black Pearl kit, is that one that you painted, or is that a Russ Lease had got it somewhere else?
It came with the kit.
I
bought the kit from this famous drum seller, Don something. He sells like he's like got all these stars who bring him their equipment when they want to sell it, and he sells off like Kiss's amps. He sells off Ringo's this, and so and so is that, and he has a bunch of kits, and he had this one up.
They're not out of Ohio, are they?
I don't remember, honestly. But if you go on and you look at like some real vintage kits, you'll see this guy. And actually, the kit that Ringo's playing was bought from this guy in Now and Then. The kit that he's playing was bought from that guy, the guy that I bought my kit from. And because I know this because I saw a picture of the owner of this guy, whatever his name is, Don something. And he was sitting there looking at the kit with Ringo there.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Did we get through your whole list, Michael?
We've gone through the list, so I have one final question for you after monopolizing the questions for an hour and a half. Do you have an alarm system, and what is your security code? Like, do you mind sharing that with us?
Well, you can get through the alarm. It's the pit of
shotgun.
vipers that you have to get over.
The moat.
There's a couple of mamba snakes and the pit of vipers that you have to, it's like if you can jump 12 feet across the pit, you'd be okay. But
I'm on my
Challenge
way.
accepted.
yeah. So I'm actually, within the next year, we're hoping to expand our house a little bit. I inherited this wonderful house that's 15, 20 minutes away. It's just not in the town I want to live in. And it really wouldn't have the best studio space for me. So we're actually going to build out our house a little bit, including the basement. So I'm going to get 26 more feet, like 26 by 13 or 14 more feet. And it's going to be amazing because I'm going to bring in a real piano. I've got a grand piano at my other house, my mom's house, and I'm going to bring that in. So I'll have that. And I have an upright upstairs that's kind of tubby and cool. I use that sometimes when I record. And I'll be able to put the organs in there and some of the guitars and spread out the studio a little bit because I am getting a little cluttered now.
Well, that's the name of the game. I'm in my bedroom with 15 guitars.
Lived through that myself. Yeah. I was in an apartment and I had like 10 guitars at the time and it was getting kind of ridiculous, and people say, well, why do you need all those guitars? Well, like, would you restrict a painter to one color? Because that's really what it is for me.
Yeah.
It's colors.
That's a good analogy. I should tell my parents that.
See if it works.
Yeah, write like permission slips to all our girlfriends and wives, like the doctor's note. Yeah.
Well, you're already married, so you've obviously got the right wife because she's already understanding you. But I wouldn't marry anybody that wouldn't allow me to be me and do what I do. And that was my wife. She was just so cool and just let me pursue whatever I wanted to pursue. And I give her the same freedom, and it's never really been an issue. She's always known who she's married, and I'm very lucky that way.
Speaking of that, I don't know if you guys have any other questions, but I thought this would be a good one to end it. What is the last piece of gear that you bought, and what's the next piece of gear that you're going to buy or want?
The last piece of gear that I bought was the organ, the DSO-1. And it wasn't the one that you're seeing. It was the one that's used for parts for $300. That was the last one, the one I drove to Maryland for. The next thing I want, I don't know whether I do get these fits of want, what do they call it? Gas, right?
Gas.
Gear acquisition syndrome. What do I want? I don't know that there's anything really. I guess I would want the Gretsch Duo Jet. I don't know whether it matters to me. I don't really like to cover that early Beatles anyhow. I'm not a I saw her standing there kind of guy. I'm more of a Rubber Soul through Magical Mystery Tour through White Album kind of guy. So it doesn't really matter to me. The bass, the Hofner's different because that's so iconic and everything else.
What about the Burns bass? The Burns New Sonic. Did you ever get that?
Would I? I'm not going to say no because, like you, I have an interest in the Beatles instruments, but do I yearn for one at this point in time? No.
Does anyone yearn for a Burns New Sonic?
I don't know. You mentioned it, I don't know.
Ryan?
Do you yearn? No.
Do you yearn for the Burns?
That's
Do you
maybe
burn?
like-
Do you burn for the Burns?
You yearn for the burn?
Yeah, that's maybe like number 50 on my list if all the other
Number
stuff.
50.
What-
You have
what's
it all,
num-
typed out?
What's number one for you?
There's a couple of things. There's it's like certain stuff ranks higher sometimes because it's really cheap, and I'm like, oh, that could happen quicker. Like a Epiphone Riviera reissue. One of those Les Paul customs with the staple pickup and the P90 for Holly's stuff. That would be cool.
So you're already going
I
outside of the Beatles here because you've got that other interest.
But like Rickenbacker 325, Epiphone Texan, those are both in there because the Texan is good for Beatles and Hollies. I don't know. There's always a billion things.
I'll tell you about outside of the Beatles, the Texan is a really great recording guitar. It's just a very even, balanced. I don't find that it's great for finger picking so much. I prefer to finger pick on the J200 because it sounds like a grand piano. But the strumming sounds amazing when you mic it well on recordings of the Texan. So does the J200, but the Texan just has a really cool sound. I understand why Peter Frampton loved it too. He had a 64 Texan as well. It's a really great recorder, so I would definitely recommend, getting a Texan. What about you, Sam? Is there like a wish list? Let me ask you guys now.
Oh yeah, there's
Oh,
always
he's
a wish
taking notes.
list. I have notes. I want a Gretsch 6120, but the single cut, full hollow body like Pete Townsend. He's my hero. And then a Rick bass is my dream bass. The Fire Glow 4001 type. Yeah.
It's a cool bass. You won't be disappointed. It's definitely a cool bass. It gets that Sgt. Peppery with a little help from my friends thing. When you mute it, it's just magic.
It's the
You know, you
best
get-
bass sound through the blonde bassman, or whatever.
Yeah,
it
it sounds
was.
great through the basement. It sounds amazing through the UL 732. Michael, what is it that you still yearn and desire for?
I'm glad Paul has the 425 because I have an ambition to do the best I want to hold your hand cover on YouTube, and I don't have one. They're rare. The one in the Abley House cover is, I think, Sunburst. Paul's got the thing. He's got the real deal. So I've commissioned him, or asked him at least, to study and participate. If anything, to spare me from buying one, because that's the one damn song you need it for.
Sparing from buying one. But what if you could, that's one that you want because you want to do this project where you want the best. I get that. What is one that you actually want to keep? Because you sell a lot of your guitars, I noticed, that you use for your videos. You wind up selling them, like the Les Paul you sold.
Yeah, I'm not that sentimental gear-wise. I think in terms of the songs, it helps me be able to record. So I think in that respect, the Rosewood Telly would have to be it. All the Let It Be stuff, the Get Back stuff, can't do it on a Strat or an SG. And you can see Sam did like 10 back to back to back to back. That were
I
just
borrowed that
incredible.
Rosewood. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's my number one. Unless you want to give me yours, obviously.
No, I don't want to give mine at all. That's my kid's future someday. What about you, Tom?
Well, like you said, I go through these sort of fits of gas, you know.
Yeah.
Recently, it was a 425. They're so unique. I feel like they would work well in indie rock. I've always wanted an Ibanez Destroyer, like Ed Van Halen had, which he turned into the Shark.
Yeah.
But I think top of my list, Beatle guitar-wise, used to be the 325 C58, but I eventually got one. But as of now, it's
yours is a 58?
Yeah.
Cool.
As of now, though, top of Beatles guitar list, that would be the Rosewood Telly. I'm dying for one. They're just so cool.
Yeah, if you can find a 2017 one at a decent price, it's a really amazing guitar. It really is.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be disappointed. Paul, you're off camera, but I can see. I think your hand's still there, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm so cold. I'm so cold in my garage. I had to put a coat on. It's all black, so I'm kind of hidden.
It's all good. What is there something that you really want that you're looking for to get in the future?
Currently, I'm on the hunt for a Sonic Blue Strat, but it's just there's so many different ones out there, and I just don't really know which one I want to get. I had a nice American Strat, and it was probably my favorite guitar out of them all, but I sold it because, I don't know, I don't know why I sold it. Color was wrong, everything else. So, yeah, I just want a Sonic Blue Strat, but, like I said, I'm waiting for a really good one to pop up that I want. But past that, probably a 62 J1, 62 to 64. I'd be fine with a 63. I'd be fine with a 64. But I just want that year range, though.
Yeah. You have what's the year you have now? 66, a J160 66?
Yeah, I got 66 and a 67, and I got that 04 piece.
And Sam, you also have, you guys both have Cherry Sunburst J160s, right?
Mm-hmm. Mine's a 66, and Paul's, I think, is 67, right?
Yeah, my Cherry Sunburst one's a 67. All it is the sunlight. They were all painted the same. It was just the pigmentation that year, the way it was sprayed, blah, blah, blah. Just made it look a little bit more faded out when the sun hits them.
I love that Sunburst. I told that to Sam that I've always wanted one of those. I've got something similar in a J45. I've got the Donovan J45, which is it's signed by Donovan. Not a big deal,
my
but
God.
he did like 100 of them. He gave the first or the second one to Howard Stern. And it's a really cool guitar because you plug it in and you actually can record with the plug-in and it sounds very acoustic. It's really cool. Very unusual. It's not as heavy as the older ones, I think. Certainly doesn't feel anything like a J160 weight. It's very light, but it's a cool modern guitar that's supposed to be it's got the adjustable bridge too, but it doesn't have the real ceramic like we're used to. But it's cool. I'd like to get either a Sunburst J160E or a Sunburst, like we're talking the Cherry Sunburst, in a J45. I have a Hummingbird too. I forgot to mention the Gibson Hummingbird. And it's one of those ones with the baked top. And it's really a great sounding guitar. I got it used, so I didn't pay $5,000 for it. That's what they're asking for now. I paid like $3,000. That's my only recommendation to you guys. Keep looking on Reverb. Get the used ones. Don't buy new because you can get deals if you keep looking and never stop looking. And when you see something and you know you can afford it, don't wait, because I've so many times I waited too long and it was gone, and I'm like, what was I thinking? If you see something you really want and you can afford it, if it's in your range and stuff, then get it. Just get it, because you won't regret it. You can always sell it.
I staked out for a couple months to find my Rickenbacker 12 string. I got it for $1,500.
That's fantastic. Yeah, they're out there. The deals are out there, and then there are sometimes you have to bite the bullet, but like for a UL 730, but I think it's worth it to bite the bullet for that, because I'm one of what 25 to 30 people on the planet that has one.
Price is only going up on those too,
and 3 of those were owned by the Beatles. So
yeah, I don't think it was mine, but I can still enjoy the Beatles sound on it, and when I'm done playing someday, I can sell this stuff pretty quickly, I think. I'm hoping, But I didn't buy it for investment. I bought it because I really love playing it, just like you all do.
Actually, I'll throw out, just for fun, just because I haven't talked about the Hollies enough, I'll throw out one more dream guitar that is possibly within my reach in my lifetime. Tony Hicks' actual ES345, which was used on like 10 Hollies albums, was for sale on eBay a decade ago. So,
and how much did
it
it
was
go
only
for?
I think $15,000 maybe.
Oh, that's it.
And it was like it was like a 63 ES345, probably lowered in value because he painted it black.
Guess what? Now that guitar is $25,000 for sure.
I talked about
No.
Yeah,
no,
it could
because
You're
because
right.
if you I know, because I looked at when I was doing the day tripper thing, I was looking at the prices of vintage 345s.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all crazy, 26, 25, 20 grand. I'm like, I know, I'm not gonna, if I can get something cheaper, that looks the same and feels the same and it's well made, and you can get them like for $4,000 or $7,000 tops, as opposed to 20 something, And they look just like the originals. They look just like it. Mm-hmm. The one I have, it's a heavy guitar. Is yours heavy?
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah, mine's like unusually heavy. Like
it definitely falls off your leg if you don't pay attention when you're sitting down. Just have the back of it. Yeah.
It's like one of those backache guitars. If you have it on your back on a strap, it'll kill you after a while. It really is that heavy. It's like I couldn't believe. I guess it's because there's a block through it, right? Mm-hmm. That's probably why. It's not like a casino. And the Veritone has
the weight.
Yeah, adds a lot of weight. For sure, yeah.
Adds the weight of people judging you who don't like the Veritone.
Why wouldn't you like the Veritone? I don't get that.
I don't know. Some people just call it a tone sucker because they think that having it in there at all messes up. Like, they think that bypass isn't real. They think it always affects tone, and so they rip it out of vintage ones.
Yeah, tone snobs.
Wow.
But
I mean, go ahead.
I just like. It's in bypass. Electronics, it's in bypass. It's not going to affect anything. So
I don't even think about it. I like the sound of it. That's all that matters to me.
It sounds really cool.
Don't give me this stuff about it isn't. It sounds great. Shut up. You play it and it sounds great. Who cares? It does look like an egg timer, kind of like the Veritone switch. But
Yeah, they were really excited about putting rotary knobs on stuff in the 60s.
yeah. But I'm not going to buy a 335 now because I feel like I've got something close enough.
Yeah, you already got
You
it. You got 6 335s with.
I mean, it would be
Different
cool to
set
get
of-
one of those red ones like Clapton had. It'd be kind of cool to get one, but I feel I've already got this, and it plays really well, and it's a beautiful looking guitar. It looks just like George's, even though it's a newer guitar. So I'm good with it. Worked in the video. Certainly got the sound. It matched the sound of that. People can debate if they want about the Tenny being the right one. I'm okay with that. But you're not going to debate with me that it wasn't the 345 on the other
You
side.
nailed
Yeah,
it.
it's
No, you
definitely
nailed it.
Nailed.
It was too easy. It just came out so easy. The match, I didn't even try. It was totally that. And so, people say, it can't be that. I'm like, shut up. Listen to the first take, you moron. It's right there. It's right there. The other one you can debate about because there are a lot of things that can get that Tenny sound, I think, we were talking about strings, or Paul was talking about strings and did that really great video. I used flats for it. Maybe it would sound totally different if I used rounds and it wouldn't get the sound. Maybe it would. I don't know. I didn't go that far. I didn't use it, And the other thing I admit that I didn't do was I didn't try a Strat with a middle pickup. I should have tried that too, because no one's going to be satisfied until you try every combination, right? But it just didn't sound like it would be the middle pickup. It had too much
It's not the
punch
Strat,
and too
no.
much. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not the Strat.
I didn't think so.
Just throwing this out there, and I know you guys call me crazy with this, but I kind of, just as a test, I've always thought, what about possibly it being the 325?
For the
Rob
solo?
Taylor thought it was.
On the
I
backup, on the second guitar. So you have I still think it's the 345. But then that other guitar that's the Tenny, I was also thinking, or maybe I'm mixing them around, I don't really know. But
Well-
something there kind of sounds 325-ish to me.
you may be right.
I think the 325 is on the basic track. I think John's playing that.
No, he
Well, of
means
course,
the second
right.
lead
Rhythm
guitar
in the back,
part
but I'm
Yeah.
talking
playing
about
the
second
main riff.
main.
But
Yeah.
it is
know.
possible that John was doing the doubling all the way through, so George could work on the solo. It's possible. I mean, it makes sense sometimes the way, but they could always punch in, so they didn't have to worry about half of that. They could stop the tape.
There is a second John part that's very low in the mix.
Is it that he's doing the 16ths or the eighth notes? Dun dun dun
something
dun
like
dun.
that. Yeah, I haven't listened to it in a while, so I've forgotten what it is exactly. But
This
Yeah.
new mix that came out just got me thinking a little bit more. When I heard it, I was like, it kind of sounds 325-ish. But of course, Perry, you nailed it in yours. I mean, definitely isn't the J160, I'll tell you that much. But, still.
Thanks.
all right, well, we should probably wrap it up. But we can keep talking about some of this after we officially end the episode. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on and telling us all
Well,
this
wait,
stuff.
wait. There was one question we talked on the pre-show that we would ask Perry, or we would discuss. If there's one piece of gear all of us could steal from him, what would it be?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Ryan, why don't you go first?
Oh, I gotta think about it though. I mean, the C58 is definitely tempting, especially because it's already modded. But
Yeah, we're doing it.
let's see.
You would, of all the gear I have, that's the one you would want the most. The three, something you could buy anywhere.
I mean, well, what's the stuff that you can't buy anywhere? I mean, the congas, I guess.
Why don't you try finding a UL 730?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I'd take that one.
Like if I was gonna steal from myself, I would
Yeah,
take
that's-
something that I couldn't get on reverb so easily. Knowing what I know, right? That's what I would do. I would steal that from myself. I wouldn't steal something like I love the Revolution Casino. I love
Mine
it.
was
I think
up
it's
since
beautiful.
4 a.m. Let's cut
That's
on-
true. I
let's
was
cut on a
editing the
break.
podcast episode till 4 a.m. But yeah, the 730 slipped my mind. I would definitely take that.
Okay.
All right, I'll
John.
go next. I would
Oh,
have to
Paul.
take
Yeah, Paul.
your probably it would have to be one of the Framuses, of course, one of the Hootenannies, or probably a 62 J160.
Yeah, that's another really hard one. That when I got that, I felt like, wow, I've arrived, in the vintage guitar world, because that's such a hard guitar, and even Greg Fio, this guy who had everything, didn't have that. And I was
Well,
like,
actually, you know what? I changed my mind. I take that back. I take a 64 J160 just because it's already been done up perfectly stripped, and you have the plastic bridge with the correct style pickguard, which again doesn't seem like you can buy that unless it's custom made.
yeah, yeah. That was bought from the same guy who I bought all the other equipment. The California Dreamin' dude named Dave. He was so nice, and it was just so unique. I was like, "Are you kidding me? It's a real 64. Somebody did that." But they did a great job. You could botch that up so easily, right? Over sand or over strip or whatever. And the fact that it already had the screw holes, and the guy when he showed me the pictures, it had the screw holes in it, and then he sold it to me, and he had tried to cover them up with like a wood thing, covered up the holes. And I just re-drilled where it was because I want those holes there. It makes it easier to just have the pickup there. I thought the pickup looked weird though. I thought I did it wrong at first because it kind of sticks out. It's got this black part beyond the pickup. See, look. See here? Can you see that? I thought that looked a little funky at first, and I had to go back to the pictures to make sure I did it right, but I did. It was okay. Just felt a little funky when I looked at it first.
Who's next?
Dom,
Well,
steal something.
one thing.
One thing.
Well, if I had to take one thing, I would honestly have to go with the 68 J200. They're so unique, and I really dig that tunematic bridge with the nylon saddles. It adds a very unique sound to that guitar.
That's what I was going to say too. I was going to say the 68 J200, not only because of George, but Pete Townsend's model was the 68 on Tommy and Who's Next.
Well, you know what, Sam? The interesting thing about Pinball Wizard is if you have the modern version of the guitar, you can't play it because you can't get your thumb. It's too wide. This is nice and thin, and your thumb goes, right on it perfectly. Got that right there. That's so easy. But on the wide one, I can't do it on my modern one.
I struggle on I have like an Ibanez J200, but yeah, it's got a thick neck. I can't do it.
I have to do this while I'm holding it. Hold on. I have to take this out so I can hear myself. Oop. Sorry. Cool, right?
Great.
Bravo.
Cool. When I played, that was the first song that I played on this. But I was like, you got to play that first. And then I played Here Comes the Sun, obviously.
Just for everybody on our audience that probably already stopped watching this by now, we don't hear Perry playing and most of our guests playing anything, so it's just tough because we kind of, we'll hear it afterwards, of course, but it's just tough to
Actually,
hear a bunch of silence. So
actually, I have this mic right here. That's the C414. So if you use my voice channel,
Yeah, we'll hear it.
The
We'll hear it
audience
later.
will
we'll
hear
hear
it
it after,
perfectly.
yeah.
We were laughing because we just saw strumming.
We know it's going to sound good.
It's going to sound perfect. Yeah.
you didn't hear it?
oh no,
It's
we haven't heard anything.
Zoom
It's
thinks
Zoom.
that it's noise because it's not speaking, so it tries to mute it unless you have a certain setting turned on. But
We were all
using that.
acting, though. We were pretending like, oh,
we all know what you're playing.
Well, I could have just played the record. Then it would have been fine.
Well,
No,
you might have not even strumming anything. You could have just been sitting there silent, so we would have even known.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Let's see. Michael, you're the only one that hasn't said yet, right?
oh. So I was going to echo Ryan and say the 325C64. I have a soft spot for the Shea Stadium concert. I think it's like the coolest John Lennon ever looked and played. But as you shot him down, I was like, shit, you can just buy that anywhere. So then the Hootenanny, I've played yours. Even though it wasn't used on many songs, it's still iconic in its own way. You know, Help has a soft spot for me, and there is something kind of magical when you play it. But you know, you have two of them, so I feel like if I ever needed to use it, I could go visit you. So I think the vintage Hofner. What year is your? It's a 63.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the real deal. It's what Paul has.
It is. It's not completely Paul spec. It doesn't have a 2-piece neck. It has a 3-piece neck, and it has the cat's eye tuners. That's it. Everything else is the same.
Yeah. And how much would you say that's worth right now?
I think I paid $9,
Yeah.
and that was pretty recent. You know, I mean, when you look at the price of other guitars, $30,000 for certain Les Pauls. I mean, it's crazy. I've never paid that much for a guitar, but they're there. $25,000, $20,000, and then you're paying $10,000 for a Beatle guitar like that. Okay, I mean, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, no doubt about it. But when you get it, you know, you got it, and it's like every time I pick it up, it's like, oh, that's right, this thing's the real deal. I still feel that same, you know, you when you want a guitar, you want it because it's like, you know, I want the Framus because there's no other sound like it and no one has it. I just want it. And every time I pick up the Framus, I still feel that way. It's just amazing. It doesn't go away. You still feel the magic of, even if you own it, you still feel like, I'm so lucky to have this. I can't believe I have it. I love to play it. I love to get the sounds with it. And that's why when I'm using the 62 J160E, I try to use it as much as I can in the videos. I don't think maybe I stayed enough that it's the 62 and people just take it for granted and think it's an older guitar or a reissue or something, but I'm using the real deal in the video, you know, and it does make a difference. It's very cool.
So Perry, house is on fire. You got to run out with one guitar. What are you taking?
Oh man, that's so hard. That's really hard because I have
only one you can grab. That's it.
I have some sentimental guitars that were given to me by my parents and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, if it was a guitar, oh jeez.
Okay, top 15.
Oh, that's easy. That's easy.
Well, how about this? You got two hands. So what's the two you're running out with?
My 1982 Walnut Strat, my high school gift from my parents for graduating, because I played that my whole life in every band I was ever in and everything else.
It's got to be the Casino, right?
Yeah, that's definitely. I think the Casino is my favorite guitar. And now I have a problem because I don't know whether it's the 65 or the 64 that's the favorite. They're both play so well. They both sound amazing. So definitely one of those. And then I would need an acoustic. If I only had one acoustic to record with, it would be the modern J200, believe it or not. And not this one, because like I said, the modern one sounds better. And it plays like I'm a finger picker. I can really finger pick, and man, that thing just like you feel like you're playing the grand piano of guitars when you play that guitar. This one, you fight it a little bit because it's thinner. It's a little bit more muted. It has a great sound, but you fight it a little bit. And I had to really work hard on adjusting the truss rod so there wasn't too much tension on the strings. You know, like... I know you can't hear this, right? Got a really nice sound, but you fight it a little bit. My other one, I can still do riffs and stuff on this, obviously, but there's a lot more fight than the other one. The other one is like it works with me. It's a part of me. You know, when you play an instrument and it's literally like a part of you and it makes everything easy and you play your best. That ain't this. That's not that.
Well,
but it's a beautiful guitar.
I suppose we should wrap it up, but Thanks so much for coming on and showing us all of those. I feel like in some sense we've still barely scratched the surface on all your stories of getting all of these different guitars and things.
Yeah, it's great to speak to you guys and get to see you all.
Yeah. As always, thanks, Perry, for coming on. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
But we'll definitely have to do the Strawberry Fields thing. So
I'm game. That'd be awesome.
Cool.
All right, fans, if there is a particular guitar you want to steal from Perry, put it in the comments. Otherwise, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Nice talking
thanks
to you
for
guys.
watching.
Take care.
See you in the next one.